We've stayed away from doing formal predictions for all of the major conference tournaments until now. All of these games are starting either tonight or tomorrow. And I want to go through the five major conference tournaments and basically give a winner pick and why for each of these. I did speak a little bit on a few of these on the Big Bets on Campus podcast on the Action Network. So if you listen to that too, this might be a little bit redundant for you, but excited to get your takes as well, my friend Dion. Let's start in the Big Ten, obviously, where I care the most about here. I have a very clear team that I think is the best value. If you want to talk betting odds with this as well, I think that's fair, but I'm strictly looking for the team you think will win this tournament. Who are you going with in the Big Ten?
The team I think will win is Michigan State. I think they've been the best team in the conference this year. I mean, obviously they won the regular season, but I think the way they won the regular season, they've been the best team in the conference. They're also hot at the right time. If I was betting it though, because that's not going to be the best value, Indiana, Indiana. I'm a bet. I would bet Indiana and bet on Woody and them just being locked in and going on a crazy run. One team from one of these Power Five conferences is going to be like, wow, they actually won their tournament. I think Indiana has the best like chance to where you can kind of see it coming from afar. So I would bet Indiana if it's betting odds, but Michigan State's the team that I think would win it if we're not discussing gambling.
60 to 1 is a range for a lot of teams that I'm or no, excuse me, 60 to 1 is Indiana, and then down onward is all the bottom feeder teams. So yeah, if you want the value, Indiana in Indianapolis, Woodson Legacy run. They already beat Michigan State once. I don't hate that play. So I it's tough doing the like what's your pick versus what who do you actually think will win? Because I'm with you. Like this Michigan State team is psychopathic. They have the most favorable draws, the number one seed, obviously. At plus 250, I don't think it's the best value. And the way I do approach conference tournaments is from a betting perspective where I'm looking for a pick that has value. So I think as we go through the rest of these, I'm not going to be like, oh, I think this team will win, but this is my pick, really. I'm just going to give my pick that's rooted in value from the beginning standpoint. Um, I won't be surprised if Michigan State wins. They had the same record as Purdue last year, but a better points margin. And nobody thinks they're as dominant as Zach Edey Purdue was last year. They probably shouldn't be viewed that way. My pick to win this tournament is not Michigan State, though. My pick to win this tournament is Purdue. There's a bunch of teams that are plus 650 range. You've got Michigan State and Maryland at the two favorites, plus 250, plus 350. Wisconsin, UCLA, Purdue are all plus 650. Illinois is plus 750. Illinois has to play Maryland. Those two teams should not be like the same value range. That's in the quarterfinals. Wisconsin has to play UCLA in the quarterfinals. Purdue has the easiest draw here by far. They get either Rutgers or USC. They blew out both of those teams in three games this season, won all of them by an average margin of 22 points a game. Then they get to Michigan, who is dead. I'm telling you, this Michigan team is not like let's salvage things at the Big Ten tournament. This Michigan team wants a week off away from basketball to try and get right for the NCAA tournament. They want to get out of this league. And Purdue lost to Michigan in a game they won they by 30 at home and led by 10 of for much in Ann Arbor. Purdue's going to destroy them if we get to that game. Then you get into the semis. At that point, if you have a Purdue plus 650 ticket, there's going to be a bunch of hedge opportunities. They'll get either Maryland or Illinois. If they get Maryland, Maryland's a team that is as thin as Purdue is, so Purdue's depth doesn't become as much of an issue in that game. If you get Illinois, I think that's not an awful revenge spot for Purdue after they were just up 10 against Illinois in Champaign and Braden Smith just missed all his shots late. Kasparis hit a big one. I just love this half of the draw. All the good teams to me, Wisconsin, UCLA, Michigan State, all on the top half. If you have a plus 650 Purdue ticket in the final, you're feeling great. That's my pick to win it.
I like it. I like it. I like the idea of one of the Indiana schools winning for sure.
Yeah,
I like that a lot.
in
So
the state. Yeah, I like it
keep it
too.
in state. I also think, like when I say I think Michigan State would win, that's based upon what we've seen. I wouldn't. I don't think I will take a single regular season winner to win their conference tournament. Like you said, there's some teams that want a week off here, and
Yeah.
I think some teams that would benefit a lot, Michigan State included, from a bit of an early exit.
Yeah. Okay, let's move to the Big 12, where we've got Houston as the 1 seed, Texas Tech is the 2 seed, Arizona 3, BYU 4. They all got double byes. Iowa State and Kansas, Baylor, West Virginia, all a single bye, but they have to play an extra game. And then anybody else would be a massive long shot. Who's your pick to win the Big 12 tournament?
So we do videos, previews, and recaps with Christian. I'm actually taking this one from him. I completely agree with his takes on this one. Iowa State plus 700. I think Iowa State will be favored against BYU. If they get that far, I think they'll be underdogs against Houston, and then I think they'll be favored in the final. You're getting 7-1 odds for a team that's going to be underdogs in one of the games. That's strictly from a value perspective. I like that. They're also getting back to full strength here. At full strength, we're talking about one of the 5 best teams in the country as well.
I don't hate that. I see the pitch on it. The thing I don't like about the Big 12 tournament bracket is the 3 teams that I'd be interested in betting, Houston, Iowa State, and BYU, all on the same side of the bracket. I mean, Iowa State and BYU needing to play in the quarterfinals when those are 2 of the 4 best teams in this league is just a tough draw for both of them. BYU just beat Iowa State at full strength in Hilton. I know I mentioned this to you on the best bets thing. So it's hard for me to get there at Iowa State at that number because I would almost rather just bet BYU 11-1 and play the same path there when they just beat Iowa State. I think that's a coin flip game. But to me, I'd rather just avoid that all in general. I think either one of those teams could win this tournament. I think they could beat Houston in the next round. I'll gladly take a team that's legitimately great on the other side of the draw, though, that should have a pretty easy cakewalk to the Big 12 championship game. It's Texas Tech for me. They're going to get Baylor in the first round, or maybe Kansas State picks off Baylor. Either way, those are unserious basketball teams. Texas Tech is healthy now. JT Toppin's an All-American, but Darion Williams can win you a game. I also think Texas Tech will motivationally super get up for this. Especially given the draw that they have. In the semi, they get Arizona or Kansas. I like Texas Tech just as a much more complete basketball team than either of those. And then all of a sudden, you would face whoever survives the gauntlet on the other side. So it's plus 425 right now is what I'm seeing for Texas Tech. But that's my pick. Once again, I love the draw, and I'm a big draw guy with these tournaments.
Yeah, I like Texas Tech draw as well. I was gonna say on the other side of things, I don't hate the Arizona, like taking Arizona and you just assume Caleb Love goes nuclear.
Yeah. Yeah, I would rather go long shot from that side of the draw. I don't hate an Arizona play or even a Kansas play potentially, but yeah, to me, pick the side that doesn't have Iowa State, Houston, BYU, who are all rolling to some level right now. To the ACC, Duke's the overwhelming favorite as they should be, minus 320. Wake Forest, Louisville, and Clemson all got double byes. North Carolina theoretically needs a run in this tournament as the 5 seed. They're going to get Notre Dame or Pitt. Anything else would be a stretch to me. There's value here if you think Duke's not going to take this all that seriously. Louisville and Clemson are 5 and 6 to 1. North Carolina's 30 to 1 to potentially make a run through this tournament. What's your play?
Yeah, I actually think there's value with Duke. Minus 320 feels low. As crazy as this sounds, I think you could put to win a unit on Duke. They roll through this tournament, and that pays for the rest of your bets in the other conferences to kind of take some longer shots. So I'm gonna take Duke. As crazy as it sounds, you just can't convince me that any of the other schools are going to beat Duke. Um, I mentioned how some of these other schools would benefit from the extra week off. Duke can kind of give their players weeks off within having to play throughout the week because they're going to play some bad teams. And on top of that, unlike the other schools, they kind of just bring McDonald's All Americans off the bench. So they could just be like, hey, Con, you have a week off. We'll just play Isaiah Evans now. So they have ways to do it through while actually playing. So I think Duke runs away with this one.
Yeah, I think it's a parlay sweetener. I think Duke's going to win this league. I think Duke can not try, not care, play their bench, and win this tournament. That's the reality. Clemson or Louisville are good enough to pick them off. If you did want to take a non-Duke team, I actually would advocate you play 30 to 1 North Carolina. And maybe I hate that they have to see Duke before the championship game, but to me, I mean, the path was there. They were up 7 in the second half on Duke just a couple minutes ago. I don't like Clemson or Louisville at the number. That's a coin flip game to me, and just 5 or 6 to 1 doesn't feel like enough juice. So to me, the play is pick Duke. Don't bet it individually, but use it as like a parlay sweetener if you want to put like a conference tourney parlay together before this begins. To the SEC, the best league in the country. Who's your pick to win the SEC tournament?
So this one, I This is really just a shot in the dark. So I think Auburn's going to flame out quickly in this tournament. I think if there's one regular season champion I don't see trying at all in their conference tournament, it's Auburn. Auburn could use the week off. Chad Baker-Mazara could definitely use a week off just to calm down a little bit. So with that in mind, I think I'm going to go with Tennessee plus 575. I don't think Bama and Florida at the plus 300 numbers is enough for me to get to want to take one of them. Coin flip game between those two as well. So I think I'm going to rock with Tennessee plus 575. One of the best defenses in the country. Defense wins championships. So I'm going to go based on that.
So I actually completely agree with you on the state of Auburn right now. They lost two straight games to end their regular season, and I just think they've locked up a one seed. There ultimately is not anything massive to play for here. Um, I am gonna just play a similar play to you, but I think I like the value better. I'm gonna take Texas A&M at 25 to 1. Texas A&M is the team that plays Tennessee theoretically in the quarterfinals. They would have a game underneath their belt because they're gonna play Texas or Vanderbilt first. And to me, A&M lost to Tennessee in the regular season. It was a coin flip game. It was tied with 3 minutes left, and Lanier hit eight threes in that game in order for this to be like a two possession win. On the flip side, Wade Taylor was 0 for 9 from three. I think that tells you all you need to know. Now, Texas A&M is not a good shooting team, but when there's eight threes for Tennessee Star and zero for Texas A&M's, a 24-point swing, and you win by eight, I think the matchup's actually okay for A&M. They can compete on the boards there. So maybe you get a little revenge spot there. And A&M, who won their final two games of the season, beat Auburn in one of those games, could find some momentum here after a really quiet start to January or to March at the beginning of the month. 25 to 1 is great value for me, but to me, I think we're both right. Target somebody on the Auburn side that you hope Auburn mails it in for, and you can avoid the whole Florida, Alabama. I think even Kentucky's in that mix. Like that could be anybody who comes out of that side.
Yeah, there's too much stuff. Like there's too many teams jumbled up in this tournament, and I think if you can just avoid one side of it and take the other side, that's your best bet. Um, and like I said, Auburn's definitely going to flame out. I also low key wouldn't doubt Alabama flaming out of this tournament as well.
Whoa.
Yeah, I think Alabama is another team that I think could just like let's just get a week off. Mark Sears, 5th-year senior, he doesn't have too much to prove. Let's just get a week off and get to the tourney.
Yeah, the SEC, as good as the league was, it feels like a tournament that a very random team could win this year. Because I feel like all the good teams feel like their job is already done, just want to focus on the big day. And the middle of the pack teams are dangerous enough to make a run. Like you could see Arkansas, Jeremiah Fears, Kentucky, and Mark Pope could like really want this magically. So yeah, I don't know. I'm afraid of betting this one, but I'm gonna take a 25 to 1 Texas A&M ticket and just get out of there. All right, to the Big East, our final league here. St. John's the 1 seed, Marquette as a 5 seed. The team to probably watch against them. They got to get through Xavier though to meet in the semis, and then Creighton and UConn paired up as the 2 and 3 on the other side. Villanova could theoretically get like an Eric Dixon run here, but they got to go through UConn. I don't think they're probably gassed up about that. Uh, Brian Ralph made this case on Ball Up Top. He predicted Butler to beat St. John's in the first round of this tournament. Butler has not had a great season, but has played St. John's close a couple of times. If they get through Providence, that would be the first round matchup. So, what's your play in the Big East?
I don't like the value with Creighton or UConn. Obviously, I don't love it with St. John's either. So I'm going with Marquette plus 600. I think St. John's, Creighton, UConn, Marquette, those four teams, if it's all in the semifinals, both games are decided by under 5 points. I don't think any of those teams are head and shoulders better than any of the other teams involved in that grouping. I think it's a little convoluted. So I'm gonna take the one that has the best value of the four. I'm gonna take Shaka. I think 5 seed Shaka is crazy as well. So I mean, obviously it's based upon standings, but still. So I'm gonna take Marquette plus 600. I feel better about that because if Butler were to knock off St. John's, that means Marquette gets Butler on the way to the championship.
You're right. You're right. Okay, I'm gonna do what a heel turn for me here. I feel like I'm doing the John Cena right now. Uh, they got a draw that I love. I'm taking UConn 4 to 1 here. Look, I think St. John's and Marquette are the two most scary teams on paper in this league. St. John's and Marquette are on the other side of the bracket. If I was going to take somebody else here, I would take St. John's and just take plus money because I think they are definitively the best team here. But as Ralph pointed out, and I think as you allude to with your Marquette pick, who knows how much St. John's actually cares? They may want to get rest and just get to the tournament. Bottom line is this: it's Hurley, and we've seen this UConn team close the season incredibly well. I don't want them in the NCAA tournament necessarily, but I just watched this team sweep Marquette in the last month. I watched this team beat Creighton the last time that they played. Like, who are they supposed to be afraid of right now? They're not going to be afraid of seeing Creighton. If they get to the championship game, you're telling me Dan Hurley and a UConn team that by that point would have won 6 straight games to get here isn't the side you want at 4-1? I think you have to take it at the value just given the draw. And I would throw this out there too. Hurley is smart, right? He's a psychopath, but he's smart. I think there's a part of Hurley that knows this season has been a disappointment, that also, maybe if he won't admit it, in his soul, he feels it. This team's not going to win a national championship. If he wants a banner, this is it for his banner this year. Win the Big East tournament and be able to hang that over all your haters' heads that you got them peaking at the right time. This season wasn't a massive failure. And then whatever happens in March is gravy. I think it's the right play at the number and given the draw.
Yeah, like UConn was my other pick. I think we get a UConn Marquette championship game. And the reason I like the UConn play is I think Marquette will be underdog. So that's a really good hedge spot. I didn't really give myself an opportunity to hedge with the Marquette pick. But I do think we get a UConn Marquette championship game.
Yeah, I like that too. All right, there you have it. There's all our conference tournament predictions. Dion, which one of these is your most confident pick? Obviously, Duke's the safe one, but what's your favorite play of this group?
Probably because it's not fully my pick, Iowa State plus 700.
Okay. I think I am going to say UConn 4-1. I can't believe I've turned into this.
My second most confident pick, though, like call me crazy. I really, really think Indiana and Illinois are going to be the teams to beat in the Big Ten tournament.
Wow.
So I like the Indiana pick a lot too. I think you can get really good value with Indiana and Illinois against a lot of teams that I don't think won it as bad as those two.
Wow. Okay. There you have it.